Actually, if you know how to make the present situation, to bring it to advantages in terms of meditations, in terms of sickness, this is the best time. Because why? Then you can see the contrast, the differentiations of the mind that is being affected and be dragged into the contents of the disease, and the mind that can stand outside of the disease. When I say your mind has been dragged into the content of disease, that means these four elements, because of the imbalance, because of the effect by the changes of the four elements, that means the air, the water elements, the heat elements, and the fire elements, it created a kind of changes in the atmosphere, and thus this human body that is not strong enough will fall sick. We said imbalance of the elements. And in the medical world, they will take a lot of research, very refined research to label, to give labeling, and then to warn how destructive the disease is and blah, 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 and all these things. And that is the worry part. And how to do preventive measures so as to let it spread and so forth. And as such, when this kind of messengers, this kind of news or message have been spread throughout, so those people who don't meditate, those people who don't understand the truth of this nature will be very, very badly affected. They will be scared. Oh, what are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. We should follow this. And yeah, it's correct. And after following, you see what happened? People still die. People still fall sick. People still get the disease in certain extent, except it is just being controlled at a very level, and that's it. But if you look at the reality, what I'm trying to say, the reality of life, if you were to put the principle of impermanent, anicca, why all this preventive measure has been made and yet people still die? Maybe we have a lot of terminal disease before the contract of this disease, and yet therefore they die. And people who don't exercise, people who bound to be or their lifespan have been used up, they die. And that's all. And you wanted to talk about sickness and die. It's not only COVID-19. It's just a change. So if you want to meditate, how are we going to look at the problem? We got to go to basic elements that this body of our mankind, human beings, consists of these four elements: earth, water, fire, and space. And this consciousness of ours going to take occupation into this body, so-called human body. And when there's changes in the elements externally, or the change element internally in our own body, we can see the defect, we can see the contrast, the changes within our body. You have too much water, you got to clear the water. In what way? Sweating. In what way? Urinating. This is the way you cool the body, by excreting this liquid. And if you are too cold, like what we have been doing, putting on more clothing, open a heater, start a fire to keep yourself warm. If not, what will happen? You fall sick. You fall sick because there's a lack of this heat element. There's imbalance of this heat element. You will fall sick, you get cold. If there's too much water, you don't excrete out, what will happen? Your body will get bloated up. And if there's a lack of this fire element, you have what problem? You have digestive problem. You can't digest your food. You will get bloated stomach, a lot of gas. And you see how vulnerable our body is. And this is the reality of the whole thing. When we are able to contemplate in this manner, in terms of the Dhamma, anicca of the body, then we can accept the truth that we say that we try our best to do a lot of goodness for ourselves. Because why? It's so unpromising, this body of ours. One moment we hear something happen here, another moment something happen there, and it just, merry-go-round, round the bush. We are round the bush because we live in this supposition world. We are round the bush because this world, the conventional law. But the law of nature, as there's only one law of nature, and that's the truth. The truth about anicca is impermanent. If you hold the law of this universe, the truth of impermanence of things, then your mind won't suffer so much. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And it's so fair. If there's karmic that you will go through it, you can't run away. You talk about insurance coverage, you talk about this and that, you can't prevent death. This is only the supposition world. So when we practice Dhamma, remember, we must be above the world. We must try to contemplate a lot into the impermanency of all things, in all circumstances we come along. Then we won't be hurt when certain things happen, not according to our wishes. Then we say, because we lack of these contemplations of this thing, that's why we keep attaching to the views we have to be permanent, things to be like this, or to like that. And this is why our mind can't settle down. But if you were to contemplate, like I said yesterday, the more you contemplate, the more acceptant the mind, being able to accept the truth of impermanence, the truth of no self, the truth of this world of suffering, then the more your mind will get lighter, lighter, lighter. You don't have to tell yourself. There's no such thing to remember yourself, let go, let go. There's no. The real letting go got no labeling at all. It's just the mind state of, it's so light. You still feel relief. Because why? No supposition thought can weigh down your mind. Because your mind is not attached to all this garbage is coming out from the mind. You just watch it and you laugh at it. But you must make use of this mental formation for this supposition world when you want to use it. After that, you look at it, it's crazy up there. There's a separation there. And you see, it's so light. It's so nice. It's so happy. You can say, die now, better die now. Shit, so... Sometimes I think, hey, karma haven't used up. Want to go, so cannot go. Sometimes you think, die is better. It's true. Because why? When you die, you have to go through this suffering of the body. And the mind is so carefree, so happy. But people who don't contemplate, people who don't understand the nature, you will be forever being weighed down. Weighed down not by external, by our own thoughts. Our own these evolutions of the thoughts. It keeps spreading in. Everything is so real because it's grabbing on the content of the thoughts. And it liking, disliking, being generated because of this. Because of not being able to discharge yourself from this cycle of the thoughts. If you're able to have a firm concentration practice, firm mind state, firm, I say firm, let me tell you, nothing can touch you. Your body can be dead, tired, dead, but the mind is okay, very happy. You just, shit, this is body. But what to do? That's why you got to contemplate all aspects in life. Everything that pops up, grab it and contemplate, going into anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then you will find the lightness of the mind. If you can develop that, and you one day you practice, my mind getting lighter. I don't know why it's so light, so blissful. You are on the right track. But the more you practice, more and more thought arising, more and more knowledge. I know this, I know that, I know so much thing, and blah blah blah. You will weigh yourself because of the knowledge. The knowledge, the attachment to the knowledge will only weigh us down. We know already, we acknowledge it, and that's it. And the mind will detach. You got to do it. Contemplation of the body into your own body. A lot of people, they feel that it's a waste of their time. I try so hard to bring my mind to calmness, and now you want me to contemplate. Well, if your mind is in a state of calmness, you try to test yourself. What happens if this thing happened to me now? Something dear to you happened to you now. Can you accept it? Something happened to you. Can you accept it now? You cannot bluff yourself. You got to challenge, be brave enough to bring up certain very sensitive question to yourself that will touch your nerve. Then you can see that, I still can't let go. Why? Then we plop in why. Then we can dig up. Then we start to explore new ground in our mind. New ground, new faces. There's a hidden agenda hidden. The more we peel in, then we saw. We can see deeper. Then we can eradicate the thing slowly. I use the word slowly. It may take years, take months, take years and years of practice. It's not easy because if we can't develop the strong foundation of the calmness of the mind, you can't do that. We can't do it. Just plain mindfulness that normal people play mindfulness, you think you can cure the defilement. Everybody will be arahant ready. But it's not so easy. But of course, it's not beyond human beings trying. Right? That's why we are here. That's why when the Buddha taught the Dhamma, There are many levels the Buddha discourse was being preached to certain people at different levels. So remember, when we contemplate, always go to the anicca, dukkha, anatta. Keep going it. Don't say, this one I know already. I know. Who say I know? The I know come from where? Come from where? Who say I know? Where? Which one I know? I know is what? Who is I know? So this is a homework. You see, our life are just like ice. And we human beings, we only like coolness, right? We like this cool air, icy air, so nice. And we walk under the ice, walk under this kind of cool condition. Our heart feel glad, feel very at ease because why? Our body is not being affected by the heat elements that could cause us unpleasant feelings, sorry. So it's just like we human beings living on this world. We're grabbing on piece of ice in our hand. And we thought that this piece of ice will never melt. But it melts. But we are so engrossed. We are so attached. We are so deluded, being blind by this piece of ice that we forgotten we hold it and we can feel the coldness and we forgot that this is going to melt and it's actually is melting. But we, on our part, we neglected. We say, no, this will be forever. And in the end, when the melt, when the ice melted, nothing left. How come there's no more ice? How come there's no coolness? How come there's no this and no that? So this happened with us human beings. All beings that's born into this earth. The tendencies of human mind is what? Is to attach, is to crave, grabbing for external things. And those things that you're grabbing, they are impermanent. They are not forever. And what are the things that we should grab? Like the Buddha say, you should grab onto what? Your generosity. You grab onto what? Your sila, your precept, your restraint. You should grab onto what? Your samadhi, your concentration practice. Grab onto what? The wisdom that arises. And we have understanding of this thing. These are something that can brings you across the ocean of this suffering. This thing will brings you, into the next life. They're going to reduce your life to be born into this existence again, which is form of suffering will be lessened. But if you were to grab on certain thing externally, in the end will be the one suffering because why? It's non-substantial, it's impermanent, it's something that we can't hold on to, but we try to make it forever. It's never promising. And yet, we human beings are so deluded. That's why the Buddha left all this luxury lifestyle, all kinds of name, fame, status, and all these things, and looking for this inner peace, the quest for this spiritual path. So likewise, we are here, we share, we practice together, we encourage and fortify what needs to be done for one's practice, because no one is responsible for the sadness and happiness in ourselves. It is we ourselves created all these things. If you look at the external world, external thing, you look at the wind, water, fire elements, all this nature, they are by themselves performing their duty. They got no problems. But we human beings have problems because we try to alter the nature, we try to make things for our advantages, for our own comfort of this body, and thus creating a lot of destructions, which in the end, who suffer? We suffer. Like what you can see nowadays. Even the water in the stream, I believe last time in the past, people can just drink. And so-called inventory, so-called conventional world improvement, they call it improvement. You go to the stream nowadays, you don't even see fish nowadays. You don't even see nature, no living beings. The water last time that can be used to drink, we can't drink nowadays. A lot of places, the whole world, in fact the whole world, even Thailand, we used to stay in the forest. If we go downstream, we want to drink water, we are so scared. Because why? Upstream people, they plant agriculture thing and they spray insecticide and all kind of chemical thing. You see, why? Why we know that? We look at the stream, no fish. We say, if fish cannot survive, small animal cannot survive. If we drink the water, you're going to die. So you see, we have air, we can't even breathe now. Certain places you got to put on a mask because of contagious of disease. You look at these whole things. If you just nature by itself, there's no problem. But because of our human greed, right? This human craving, wanting more, that has created this kind of imbalance of these elements in the world, and thus creating so much sickness. And of course, it's our collective karma to be born in this era, to be exposed to this kind of situation, which, well, we got to live with it. Live and let live. We got to put up with, okay, what's supposed to be done, we just follow. And you look at the whole thing now. So we must always be responsible for your own self. Right? If every individual responsible for your own welfare and happiness, you don't have to worry about other people, because if everyone know how to be responsible for just themselves, then will be a better place to stay. The problem is if they don't know how to be responsible. They are the person who are ignorant, irresponsible, selfish, and that's the problem. And the good-hearted people try to help, but you ended up certain level of helping, but we can never help the world because this world is full of defilement. It is only that we always say that, okay, try our best to help ourselves. If someone comes along, we pull them along. If they don't come, that's fine, because fine. We are not going to get ourselves burned, because sometimes we put into our finger into too much matter, we got our finger burned. So it's better that we step back and just, okay, do as we see fit in all matters in life. We can have the compassionate mind state towards beings. But if we look at the situation that, not worthwhile, then we just move on. It's okay, because that individual fall into that state because his own doing, not us. Even if we want to help them, do they want to help themselves or not? You see, sometimes we get disheartened, we get demoralized because of this kind of problem. So it's better that we watch it and acknowledge, yeah, there's a problem, acknowledge and move on. No problem. Because why? No point. Then we don't get ourselves engulfed with so much unnecessary dispute that will come along our way in our life. We are good-hearted people. We are very accommodating people, remember. And people always take advantage because of our kindness. So we must play smart. Live and let live. We just accept, acknowledge, and okay, hello and goodbye. So this is the world. And some people, you're so selfish. I say, no. Who say I'm selfish? We're not selfish. We try to help. But if people don't help themselves, then how to help? We cannot help. Same thing. You're given, you ask for drink, you ask for food, and the food and drink has been prepared for you. But if you don't take it, you don't grumble, there's no food, right? There's food, but you don't take it yourself. This is the problem of human mind. This is the problem of our weaknesses in ourselves. So remember, we practice to lessen our greed, hatred, and delusion. I always say, we don't have to know a lot of things. Along the way in our practice, we just take the three things as our measuring tape. What are the three? Does my anger, greed, hatred, delusions, jealousy, unwholesome state of mind increase or decrease? That's all. We tick, 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 we know. Oh, increase. Has it improved? No. Why? Why no improve? Then we will know how to go about it. Our hatred, does it increase or decrease? Our delusion increase or decrease? And why? And if we know why, and the solution to the why, then we can solve the problem. This is the practice. Because I got problem. People ask me question yesterday, over in line. Pantea, I got this problem, blah, blah, blah. He read so widely around the bush. I read the whole thing and laughed. Read too much book. Read the book and get confused by what the book doesn't understand. I say, don't easy. Don't have to read so much. You measure yourself daily life. You encounter your daily life. If anger arises, can you contain it? If you cannot, why? How to contain it? When jealousy in the company, you're working with somebody else, and you feel they have been backstabbed or badmouthed by other people, what kind of mental state you should adopt to receive the situation? That's all. You say, how come so easy? You look at the whole problem. I say, it's easy because you are confused. You can't look at the problem because your mind is not stable. Your mind think, no handbrake. There's no brake. That's why when the Buddha talk about sati, mindfulness, talk about samadhi, it's so important. And then they say, oh yeah. They say, yeah, kalapa, yeah. Yeah is on in our Chinese, yeah, yes, yeah. Malay word is called yeah. In Malay word, yeah, kalapa is a coconut. Yeah, kalapa, yeah. Okay, that will be the sharing, kalapa. Now is the one pra. Today is a one pra because in the Buddhist calendar, raining season, for every season we have 8 patimokkha. So 2 weeks once. Now we're coming to the small one pra, and next week will be our 5th patimokkha. So this is a half of the raining season's vasa. So we must recall what have we achieved so far. What have we achieved in our practice, in the aspect of our sila, in the aspect of our chanting, our practicing of meditations, our mental developments that we should be developed. How much have we achieved? We should ask this question to ourselves. What are the things that we don't know and we make an effort to know? We make an effort to memorize, to improve ourselves. This is the training. It is very important to have this kind of reflections so it can give us the sense of urgency to move forward. And this is very, very important. If not, we'll be focusing on things not pertaining to the practice. And this is very important. And for those people who come and practice, same attitude which we must adopt. Have we increased in our practice? How? Our sitting, the hours of our sitting, our walking meditations, our chanting, and the way we behave in terms of controlling our own mind. When we say controlling our own mind, a lot of people say, the mind, you shouldn't be controlling the own mind. You must let your mind think the way it is. We got to control because mind, the way, the nature of the mind is full of greed, hatred, and delusion, full of anger, jealousy, full of ego and pride. We must control. If not, what's the training all about? If not, what for we ordain? What for we come to the temple for what? If not, why the Buddha left the homeless, left the worldly life for what? There must be a reason why the Buddha did that. As we mentioned earlier, during the Buddha's time, so many schools of thoughts, but the Buddha doesn't agree with the thoughts, the school of thought during that time, when Buddha's time. That's why the Buddha come up with this training, format of training for us that we got to adhere to. And then we got to work toward what has been taught, the kind of attitude we must adopt, and we must know how to train ourselves, how to behave ourselves, what level of practice we should adopt for ourselves, what level of responsibility, the thing we should do for ourselves, thing that we should do, what we should do, and why we want to do, what for, and how can it enhance our practice. And these are the things we should look into it and push toward, right? And for us, especially when we are monks, we go towards meditation, to the eradication of our defilements. You see, we memorize our chant, that chants that we don't know, we must memorize, push at it, and meditation aspect. That's why the word control, a lot of people say, no, we don't control. We control. If we don't control our mind, then who will control? The defilement will control us. See, when the defilement control us, what what result it would happen? It's very damaging for ourselves. And worse still, the lay people. The lay people is the same thing. You also must do self-control. Self-control in your sila, in terms of the 5 precepts, 8 precepts. You got to control yourself. For example, sometimes you never push yourself. You got to start to push. When we say push yourself, if you're not going to push yourself, who's going to push for you? You think so? You're just doing day in, day out, like putting up show, letting people see your day in, day out things. 8 precepts, I stay in the temple. I monk, I this, I that. So what? We are just human beings in uniform, that's all, nothing special. But the specialty of the uniform is that if you can improve yourself, you can prove yourself in terms of the practice, control of anger, control of greed, hatred, delusions, control of pride, control of ego. This is what people will be looking at you, how people look at you. People don't care because your uniform, don't care. We're human beings. Your shit and our shit, same. Shit, our stink, smell. What's so good? But if your behavior is good. If you know what is called thing that need to be respect, you respect. Thing that to be uphold, you uphold. Then people respect you. This is something very, very important with the training rules. That's why if you look at the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha didn't, our practice doesn't go without teaching. They have a form of teaching how to go about it and how we should perform ourselves, how to behave ourselves. All expect. You look at the Buddha's teaching, everything is written so clearly. So we must uphold, you see, especially in a place like that. The lay support, you just support. The monk will do a practice. Don't cross the line. The monk won't cross the lay people line. The lay people don't cross the monk line. Then no problem. The problem is let to cross the line. And then got problem, a lot of problem. The problem is because this stupid mind inside, don't look inside, look outside. Like I said, I always look outside, try to correct outside. That's a problem. You correct inside, no problem. Because when you correct outside, you don't offend people. You say, today I got no food. Today I got no food, no speech. Then nothing happen. Nobody get offended. No food, no problem. You can go fasting, 10 days, 20 days, who cares? 30 days, who cares? People only are no more practicing, quiet, silent. Then people will look upon you, this type of practice. People admire you. What inspired us to ordain? Last time before we ordained, same thing. I go Thailand, go shopping, like shopping center. Go around Thailand, look at different teachers, the mode of practice, go and stay there, see. And then we choose, okay, what are the mode of practice suits your character? Not everything suits everybody. Then we practice, go to the mode of practice according to our temperament. Well, of course, we don't expect everybody to be the same. We don't expect anybody to be Long Po Cha, to be Long Po Ma Bua, to be like Long Pu Man standard. Long Pu Man can fly, we can't fly. But we try to uphold, we try to keep within the scope of practice. But the problem, did we push for it? The lay people, you can take Khemako, Yanayon, Kumpaki, Yanayon, Khemako, Khmer Chandi, all this. Lay people, the preceptor. You have to go and become a Bhikkhuni or what. You look at all this lady, their bone, become relics. A lot of people like to contest. What does that prove? Relics. What does that prove? Hey, bone can become a relics, become like glass. If the mind is not intended in focusing into the spot, just an X-ray, you think can become glass? You don't see any dog bone, human bone become like that? No. That's the way how pure the mind can be. With the purity of the mind, focusing into the body, penetrate, focusing the body, focus your body the whole day, whole night, unless you sleep. This is how they purify. The purify of the mind, purify the body. Like X-ray like that, just scan. Then you see the mind very calm. The mind will have a calm. What we call that, have enough, because the certainty in oneself, the practice, looking, the Buddha's teaching, don't ask you to look out, look inside. Other people's problem, we leave them alone. We look inside. Use energy to focus inside. Just an X-ray. Eradicate all this thing inside within you. You see people, why the more they focus, even the complexion also change for the better. People are good at meditations. They don't need all kind of supplement. They don't need. They don't have to go for facial massage or what, don't need. But you look at them, why are they so serene, so pure? Because the mind is composed, because the mind is disciplined, always focusing in the body, screening inside the body. And you know time to come. From just a rough scanning, you project into what? Visions, like real things scan, the real scanning into the body. And it's so clearly and deeper inside the mind. You get more deeper understanding about the attachment of the mind to the body, the attachment of the mind to the mind make story, to the mind make, see how our ego work, how this thing work, how this thought, protruding out from the mind, become a thought. And when you grab hold of this thought, become a what? A birth of supposition, a birth of committing more karma for ourselves. Then we see, the more we practice, the more scary we'll be. Scary in what? Scary that we will commit bad karma for ourselves. Very scary because why? It will only multiply our birth, aging, illness, and death only. Multiply more bad karma. Become a hindrance for our practice more. That's why the Buddha tells us to have compassionate, to forgive people. People have wrong done to us, forgive them, forget it. Because the Buddha saw this, say, you better don't commit more bad karma. An eye for an eye will be more bad karma. It's always to stop it and hands off. And no problem. One hand cannot clap. You take two hands, you clap, and then the clapping will keep going on. Remember, now it's the middle of the vasa already. Commit less karma better. Huh? So that will be the sharing for today. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang Eva beva nito tina petana upakapatit Ichita badita dumha kipameva samichatu sape purentu sankapa Chanto panaraso yatha manicho diraso yatha Tiya vivajantu samaro govina saduma devava vandarayo sukhi dikayo gomava viva tanasile sanicang buddha Vajayino Cakaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Alaya Samipade Kapete Vasa Parita Jatiyo Sila Vadeta Mochetawa Sanyate Brahmacharino Yadata Devata Sunta Sadakinamadese Tapucita Pujayanti Marita Manayatina Tatonang Anukampanti Mata Putavaurasang Dewata Nukampito Poso Satabarani Pasati Bhavatu Sabamanghalang Rakadosa Badewata Sabha Buddha Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabamanghalang Rakadosa Badewata Sabha Dhamma Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabamanghalang Rakadosa Badewata Sabha Sangha Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantu Te